Alright, y'all, we better rewind. We better take you way, way back. It's that No Grape Gang, you know what I'm saying? Maybe take a trip into the underground.
Welcome, Bulldog basketball fans, to the road to the state tournament. I'm Tracy Adams alongside head boys basketball coach Josh Ashley. Coach Ashley, congratulations on a phenomenal basketball season. The Bulldogs headed on into postseason to some exciting basketball. We're going to look at this season kind of in quarters. We're going to look back and see the transition that the Bulldogs have made from the first of the season up until now. Go ahead and tell me a little bit about the first part of the season. We faced an outstanding Fountain Lake team. Take it from there, Coach.
Just as you mentioned, Coach, talking about the season kind of in 4 quarters, that's just like a basketball game. The first quarter, opening quarter, is such a big deal, and the Dogs had a tough road ahead of them early in the year. We luckily played several at home, and so we started that what we're calling the first quarter 5-1. Played a really good Fountain Lake team here, second game of the year at home. They're traditionally a top program in the state at 4A level, and this year's no different. I think they played for a regional championship maybe, and they're going on competing in their state tournament. So that was a big win for us at home, and we got it done kind of at the buzzer, late game, exciting game. I feel like we have a ton of those.
Yes.
But then we traveled our first road game to Mansfield, and there's some circumstances around that, but we had a great crowd there, great environment there, and the Dogs come out and pulled that one out at the end. So suffered our first loss, our 6th game of the year. We went to Southside, tough 6A team at 3rd place, their new gym, and suffered a loss there. So we're sitting pretty good at 5-1. Lots of room for improvement, obviously, early in the season, but I was definitely excited.
That's great. So as we transition to the second quarter of the season, the Bulldogs come in at 5-1. We start on the road, a whole lot more than at the beginning of the season. Kind of take us through that.
We traveled south and played our local rival, I guess, in Mena. We got the win there, and then we had a big tournament, the Duel at the Dome in West Fork. The reason I wanted to be a part of that tournament is to get us ready for postseason, because I knew we'd see some teams that we might match up with in the regional tournament. So we had a good showing there. We finished 2-1 in that tournament, wins over Prairie Grove and Gentry, 2 good 4A wins for us, and then we fell at the hands to Bergman, kind of a prelude to the rest of the year, but fell at the hands of Bergman by 32 points. So that was kind of that pivotal moment in the year where we had to grow and adapt and adjust. And right there before conference play was a big moment. So we played a few conference games, was 2-1 in conference before Christmas break, and then as usual we went to the Bill Fry Invitational at Mansfield and had a good showing at that Christmas tournament. Finished in 3rd place there with wins over Vian and Paris, and we fell to a really good athletic Pecola team. And so I felt like we played a really tough non-conference. We played 2 or 3 tournament settings that we would have to play later on down the road. So it was a good non-conference slate for us, but then the real basketball is going to start.
Well, I think one of the keys to your basketball season too, Coach, is that you have played such tough competition all the way through. You've not had one game really where you've just rolled over somebody that's not giving you some competition, which I think makes you better in the postseason.
It's definitely you got to, as a coach, you got to kind of know the feeling of your team, and so it's one of those things where some teams you can challenge there early and hopefully they'll respond, and some teams it might break them early. And so we've got guys who are battlers and fighters, and so they saw the schedule. They knew it was going to be tough, and they locked in and was ready for a battle all season long. But kind of transition to conference play would be the 3rd quarter, as we're calling it.
Right. And
so we're sitting at 2-1 coming in out of Christmas break. We finished the month of January 5-1. had a really good run. We dropped one on the road to Paris, but we had city water issues. We had COVID come in, and then we had some weather, and so that's why we only ended up playing 6 games in January, where we should have probably played 9 or 10, and so which makes for a really enjoyable January, but you knew February was going to be tough, and so the last 2 weeks of conference play, that first bit of February, we had to get a bunch of makeup games in, and I was really proud of my guys. We went on the road the last 3 games and ended up still in the conference championship on the road at Hackett. Really well coached Hackett team ended up finished 4th in conference, and that sealed it up for the 3rd consecutive conference championship that these guys have done. Some of these guys have never played high school basketball and not been a conference champion. So these senior guys who's kind of endured, so that's a pretty amazing feat.
So see, that says a lot about who you are as a coach. It says a lot about our dudes. You know, that they set the bench a whole lot last year. We had not one guy that's coming back this year that was a starter, that played many minutes. These guys put in the work, they put in the time this summer, doing a fantastic job getting themselves ready. And now as we end kind of the conference race, right? Now we're going to start in the 4th quarter, the postseason. We started in the district tournament, and I'm gonna throw that over to you. It was a real fun environment at the district tournament at Cedarville.
It was. Cedarville's always a tough place to play. We have several environments in our league. I think our league's a really good basketball league, and there's lots of support at every one of the schools in our conference. And so going on the road any night's tough, but Cedarville's traditionally a tougher place to play. And we had to sit a week because we had to buy all the way to the semifinals. We had the regional berth since we finished as the conference champions. So we suffered a setback there in the semifinals of district to Paris. We, as our, I think, 4th time matching up with Paris, and so it was one of those kind of all come to head right there. And Paris did a heck of a job defensively against us, and the Dogs really struggled. But we got back on. Weather coming kind of hit us and moved the regional tournament back a few days, and these guys had to stay at home a couple days and miss crucial practice time at a meaningful time of the year. But man, they responded. Responded. They knew it was down to 1 game their season. Had to get that first regional. If you win that first game at regionals, you clinch the state berth, and those guys knew it. But the challenge, coach, was you're playing a Bergman team who beat you in December by 32 points.
And really, which is a really, really good Bergman team.
Oh, very good.
Really good. Have been ranked pretty high in the state at some points of the season. But then we travel to Boonville, which is a great thing for the Bulldogs because we bring such an outstanding following of fans. And I know that helped. But tell me what it meant for you guys to play this close to home after having to basically set out for 3 or 4 days of practice.
Oh, absolutely. And regional tournament's one of those. You might be playing 20 minutes up the road, 30 minutes up the road at Boonville, or you might be going 3.5 hours up the road. And so we were very fortunate to get to go to Boonville and play in the regional tournament. And whenever the Bulldogs are playing, boy, we bring the nation. I'm telling you. And then the guys who can end up making it to the game get brought some great live stream action by several people. Coach Adams and Tater does that great job, and Connor McKay's done a great job. So knowing that it was at Boonville, we were ready. We were playing a good Bergman team. We were missing some guys early in the year, and it was kind of in that slump we talked about in the 2nd quarter a little bit. And so we were ready for the challenge, and man, those guys were locked in. They did a heck of a job. Really good Bergman team. They have a outstanding several 3-year All-State player, and we did a really good job defending him. He still had his 25 points or whatever he's averaging, but felt like we did a really good job, and in true Dog fashion, we made it interesting at the end.
Absolutely.
But pulled that one out, and I was so proud for my guys, and they responded. They did what they had to do, but we kind of adopted it. We ain't done yet.
That's
and
right.
So they turned around and had to play the next day against Cedarville, who finished 2nd in our conference. We had split in the regular season, and so it was a big challenge for us. And we played a really good game. We ended up falling behind late in the ball game and just could not quite get the last couple baskets to fall for us, but had decent looks at them. And I was so proud of my guys, though, because we've been in that situation last year, Coach, losing this regional semifinals. And so I was proud of the way they responded, showed up the next day, had to play Paris for the 5th time of the year. That's always tough. It's tough when you almost know the other team's players as well as they know them. And so did a good job. It was a defensive, we'll call it defensive slugfest early.
For sure.
And did a good job defensively. I just love being able to coach my guys. I love being able to switch up something defensively on the fly, and they respond. They have such good basketball IQs. It's something we really harp in our program. At the junior high level, Coach Twiggs has done a great job with those guys instilling that basketball IQ. Coach Brown's done a great job in years past in making sure we had that too. And so those guys responded. We threw some curveballs at them. Paris wasn't ready for it. Ended up kind of swinging the momentum, hit a shot in regulation, take it to overtime, and then those guys stepped up at the free throw line, hit some crucial shots down the stretch, and end up capturing that win. So that puts us as a 3 seed on the state tournament, Coach.
Well, what was so exciting to me in the Paris game was that you had some guys that were all over the floor. You got Matthew Tagmeyer, he's going the full length of the floor. Every minute he's in the ball game. You got Ethan Mayberry that stepped up big. He was going to get that rebound. He was not going to give the ball up. He wanted to be the one to step up and hit those free throws, and that's what you want to see from your guys. You got a big 6-man coming off the bench in Petey Justice, who is all over the boards, all over the floor. So that your guys are bought in. They are bought in, and they're fighters. They're not going to give up.
I'm so blessed. We're so blessed here with kids who have fallen in love with the game of basketball.
Yes.
And it ain't nothing, Coach, you know this, it ain't nothing the coach can do when your guys are just bought in and they want to be successful. And so proud of all my guys. You just mentioned a few, but man, I got a team full of them.
That's
I got
right,
a bench
you
full
do.
of them.
Absolutely.
And everybody steps up in certain ways, and it may not be stuff on the scoreboard or directly related to stats maybe, but like you mentioned, Ethan Mayberry getting that rebound, that's a basketball IQ attribute that he owns to make sure that I'm getting in a situation where I'm going to put myself at the free throw line to hit it, not get myself to turn it over. And then, man, I've got guys that come in and do a role really well, and then some nights those roles are expanded. We've had a couple times this year we had injuries or guys had to step up off the bench and become starters, and they flourished in those roles. And so we've had several different starting lineups throughout the year. I think I've only got 2 guys maybe or 3 guys that have started majority of the games this year. And so it's been a fun year, and Coach, we ain't done yet.
We ain't done. Hey, Coach, we're going to throw a bounce pass right now to our Bulldog backers and our Bulldog sponsors who help our Bulldogs fly the W.
What does it mean to fly the W? To fly the W is not just a phrase or slogan that is used after a win. To fly the W is a choice, an action, a daily decision. A choice to do what it takes, when it takes it, in order to achieve the absolute best in each of us. The choice is not easy. Most people think they want to fly the W, but only some truly decide to proceed with the action that it takes. Flying the W doesn't occur for an athlete on a Friday night after a big win. It was the choice made on an early summer morning, months or years prior to work when no one else was. Flying the W doesn't occur in our community after a big event. It was the action to clean up afterwards. Flying the W doesn't occur in the classroom after a big test is aced. It was the decision to study when nobody seemed to care. Few choose, act, or decide what it takes in order to fly the W. Will you?
We're going to go 84 feet. We're going to go 84 feet of the court, and I want you to go over a little bit of what our players, what our fans are going to see in Rivercrest. Rivercrest is a really good basketball team. They're 18-10 to finish up and going into state. So what are we planning on seeing this weekend?
Well, Coach, nobody in the state tournament's not a great basketball team. There's only a handful left. So, man, they got a little bit of everything. They got a 6'4" off guard, can shoot it, real lanky, good defender. They also have another guard who's just kind of a defensive guy, tough guy on the basketball. And then they've got scorers, man. They got athletes inside. They got a 6'4" post player, athletic, plays above the rim a little bit, play really physical defense. So we're going to see several different matchups, but that's it's nothing the Bulldogs haven't seen this year, so we're looking for that matchup.
And I watched some game film yesterday a little bit with you, and this is a team that is going to go the length of the floor. They're gonna push the ball up and down the floor. The Bulldogs are gonna have to get back on defense, but that's nothing that you haven't seen already this year.
We've seen it, and kind of dictating tempo is something we talk about often.
Yes.
And we don't traditionally play fast, but we push with purpose. And so it'd be a deal where defensively we got to do a good job, as you mentioned, playing defense and transitioning back. But I think our IQ and our guard plays well enough that we can handle tempo a little bit.
Right, I do too. All right, Tracy Adams with Coach Ashley, 84 feet, and we're headed to the state tournament. We invite you all to fly the W.
Fly the W.